Hey guys, welcome back to another video, this time for episode 2 of the latest season of Champions. I made an episode for the season premiere and said if we hit 10 likes, I'll make sure to make another one. And you guys smashed the goal with 381 likes. So this time, if we hit 100 likes, I'll be sure to keep going with the series. Also, in my last video, I made subtitles for Spanish, French, and Portuguese speakers, so I'll make sure to do that again. Click on the subtitles to enjoy. But anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into this video.
When 800 of the world's most elite footballers and their managers live together under one roof, players stop being polite and start getting real. This is the Champions.
So I already broke down all the references in this opening shot in my last video. If you guys want to see that, I'll leave it linked in the description below. And I don't really see a point in redoing the same references for every single video. Let me know in the comments if I should break them down every single time or once every 2 times or something like that.
This isn't my first rodeo. I've lost a Champions League final before, and I can do it again.
I mean, come on! I may be evil, but I'm not Super League evil.
Harry, would you ever consider moving to another club?
It,
Can you elaborate on that a little?
please. It's always Ole's at the wheel, and never Ole, how do you feel?
So here we have a couple of references from the past month of football. Firstly, we see Pochettino referencing how PSG is currently in the Champions League semi-finals and could make it to the finals again. Pochettino actually has experience in the finals as he got the Spurs there 2 years ago before eventually losing against Liverpool. Next, we see an easy reference to Ramos being a villain in the league for his dirty plays, but not as bad as the terrible Super League that the major clubs attempted to form. After that, we see a reference both to the rumors that Kane could eventually leave the Spurs and to his terrible interviewing skills, something we see referenced again later on. Finally, we see a reference to the famous Man United chant Ole's at the wheel, instead of Ole, how do you feel, which he's begging them to ask him.
Hold still, I'm almost done.
Is this really necessary? I can't move my arms.
Good, then you can't break them. I swear if I lose one more player, I'm going to have to come out of retirement. And nobody wants to see that. Done. Now, let's go salvage what we can from this dumpster fire of a season.
Here we have an easily missed reference to the ambulance, which is labeled Liverpool Express, as the Liverpool players keep getting injured. Also, we see that the license plate reads Move Over, as the car is an ambulance. Also, it's worth mentioning that this entire sequence is a reference to the string of injuries that have been plaguing Liverpool over the past few months, as Liverpool continues to struggle to gain momentum without their main players, leading to this dumpster fire of a season.
From this dumpster fire of a season. This is unacceptable! Who put the staircase here? And why is the window open? It's too windy! Let's see. I blame you, and most of all I blame you, you stupid with your you fucking you're so with your ugly
Boss, I think you need some help.
You want to tell us what happened today?
Ugh! Apparently, I'm unhinged and you can't yell at the staircase, and therapy would be good for me.
Also, this entire bit is a reference to Klopp usually being very calm, but they decided to switch it up with the injuries taking its toll on Klopp's usual patience. Also, outside the building, we see a couple of references, with anger management happening at 4 PM, referee counseling happening at 5 PM, and the goalkeepers union meeting at 6 PM. This is a reference to the season 3 finale, where the goalkeepers union met up to figure out how to save the planet.
I'm asking you, goalkeepers, to save the Earth.
You are here because you are very angry. I am here because I suddenly have a lot of time on my hands. Today, I will teach you my special method for taking your anger and channeling it into mind games and vengeance. Simeone, what makes you angry?
I don't know. You, this room, this, everything.
Sporting directors.
Maybe I'm just fed up with the fixture list.
I'm fed up with people complaining about the fixture list.
So here we have a ton of references in a short amount of time. Firstly, we have a Mourinho reference with him teaching the class as he was just fired from the Spurs, so he has a lot of time on his hands. We also see him explain that he is teaching mind games, a reference to his famous quote in 2014 where he explained that everything he does and says is mind games. After that, we see everything Simeone hates, including red cards, a reference to him getting one in the Spanish Super Cup, Real Madrid, which is Atletico Madrid's rival, and finally Mourinho himself. Also, an easily missed reference that is hidden in the back is the poster for Beyond Anger Management, One Game at a Time, which has a foreword written by Eric Cantona, a reference to Cantona's infamous outburst where he fly-kicked a racist fan.
Oh, what's going on here? Cantona's getting involved with some supporters.
Next, we see a reference to Tuchel's beef with sporting directors, as the PSG sporting director Leonardo got him fired from PSG, and the sporting directors themselves were responsible for creating the Super League. And finally, we see a reference to Klopp's anger over the fixture list being way too congested, which led to the multiple Liverpool injuries over the past few months.
I used to be like you guys, but thanks to these meetings, it's been 14 years, 9 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days since my last headbutt.
I think I'm in the wrong room.
Here we see a reference to the infamous Zidane headbutt in the 2006 World Cup finals against Italy, which happened over 14 years ago.
Oh, wow. Marco Materazzi.
Also, we see Bruno Fernandes with a penalties anonymous brochure, a reference to Fernandes being very good at penalties but also taking a lot of them in his career.
You, stand up. You never match my achievements at Chelsea or Inter. You always buy old and useless players. Your hair is not real, and don't even get me started on match fixing.
Is this an exercise?
No, but that is a very good idea.
Here we see a couple of references to the Mourinho and Conte feud, with Mourinho making fun of Conte for not matching his successful seasons both at Inter and Chelsea, where Conte was successful, just not as successful as Mourinho. We also see him making fun of Conte for regularly buying players that are too old to make an impact, and for his hair, which is clearly not real. Also, we see him briefly reference Conte's match fixing, a reference to something Mourinho actually said about Conte after Conte was suspended for 4 months following his match fixing in Siena.
Now we must each find our own special way of managing our rage. For me, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
So, what do you do?
See? Instead of speaking, I wrote my feelings down and now I feel much better.
So here we see 2 quick Mourinho references. The first one is to Mourinho saying that he prefers not to speak because if he speaks, he is in big trouble, a reference to something Mourinho famously said in an interview.
Prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble. And I don't want to be in big trouble.
Next, we see Mourinho express his anger on an Instagram post, which is labeled "Bad managers deserve bad results." I hope everyone in this chair circle is as upset about it as I am. This is again something Mourinho actually posted after his loss against Royal Antwerp.
Okay, how does it make you feel when you have 2 players near the touchline? It's a short 5-meter pass, but the runner doesn't go and the ball goes into touch.
What are you doing? We worked on this!
Okay, this is not going to work. Let's try something else.
So this yelling outburst could be referencing a couple of plays, but I think it's referencing Sterling's terrible pass against Arsenal, which Pep hated.
This could be 2, it should be 2, it isn't, and they've let Arsenal off the hook big time.
Scapegoating. It's no good being angry at everything. You have to be angry at something very, very specific.
So this is a reference to Mourinho's scapegoat in Man United being Pogba, who did not get along with Mourinho at all. An easily missed reference is to the actual picture of Pogba being a reference to Pogba's Instagram post, which he made 45 minutes after Mourinho left Man United.
What if you love all your players equally?
Then this next activity may be for you. We're going to take an object and use it as a punching bag for our feelings. Who wants to go first?
Twice! I feel like I'm not being heard when you...
So here we have a couple of quick references, including Guardiola screaming twice to the referee, a reference to the hilarious video during the Liverpool vs Man City game.
Twice!
We also see an easily missed reference to Conte and the commotion, ripping off the referee's hair and yelling, "Now you know how I feel," a reference yet again to his hair transplant.
This is a bigger disaster than my 3rd season at, I guess, anywhere.
So this is a reference to the proposed Mourinho 3rd season syndrome, which is a theory that claims that the emotional intensity of Mourinho's methods eventually burns out his players, so his style cannot be maintained beyond 3 seasons at any club before it collapses. We also see another reference to Mourinho getting sacked, with his title reading "Unemployed."
I guess anywhere. Let's spice things up with a little roleplay. Zizou, Klopp, up here, now! Klopp, You be you, Zidane, you be a reporter. It's a simple exercise. All you have to do is answer the questions and not say anything that will get you fined. Go.
Is the Premier League doing enough to take care of your players?
What do you think?
What kind of question is that? It's an awful question, a silly question. Do I look like the Premier League? You want me to speak for them?
I'm just trying to do my job.
Really? Because it seems like you're trying to provoke me, but I can provoke you too. Marco Materazzi.
So this Klopp interviewing bit could actually be a reference to another interview which is very similar to Zidane's interview, as is one of the only times that Klopp lost his composure.
Does he not need to make the decision? It's not a case of blaming him. Does he not need to make the challenge though?
He doesn't make a challenge. Calvert-Lewin makes a step and it's like this on the back. You saw it. If you think it's a penalty, then do it. Say it. Say it. It's a penalty in your opinion. Is it a penalty in your opinion?
Okay, if you want my opinion doesn't matter. I would say soft.
It's a penalty or not?
I think it's soft, but I think it is a penalty.
So then we can stop the interview because I only want to talk to people who have a little bit of understanding of football. Sorry, I'm really...
Next, we see an easy reference to Klopp bringing up Marco Materazzi, who Zidane headbutted in the 2006 finals after Marco brought up his sister. This causes him to lose his cool and start a headbutting streak.
Uh-oh.
Stop it! You respect me! You respect the class!
Yikes!
So here we see a couple of easily missed Easter eggs hidden in the back of a few frames. Firstly, when Zidane headbutts Conte, his wig flies off for a quick second, which you can see here. Next, when he is running through the walls, we see him pass the meeting for penalties anonymous, the flyer Bruno Fernandes had earlier in the episode. In this meeting, we have more players who make a lot of penalties but also take a lot of them, including Mo Salah, Lewandowski, and Bruno Fernandes, with Cristiano Ronaldo teaching the class. Next, we see Micah Richards teaching the Future Commentators Club with students who are all some of the most quiet and boring players in football, including Kevin De Bruyne, Harry Kane, James Milner, and Erling Haaland. Also, this entire sequence is a reference to the first Incredibles movie, where Mr. Incredible tosses his boss through the building's cubicles.
You know, I'm glad I came here today because I learned something pretty cool. If you bottle up your anger, it's just a matter of time till you explode. It's much better to freak out in the moment.
Finally, we see a reference once again to Mourinho taking out his anger on Instagram, with the caption reading "Poor anger management from Zidane, who blew up in the 110th minute," a reference once again to Zidane headbutting Marco in the 110th minute of the World Cup finals. Anyway, that's going to be all for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. It really helps support the channel. If we hit 100 likes in this video, I'll make this a weekly series, but I'll see you guys next time. Peace.